Hello again, YouTubers. As part of my Canadian series, I'm going to show you another artist who begins with the letter E, and his name's Bobby Edwards. And Bobby Edwards is a name that's virtually unknown in Canada as well as throughout the world. But apparently he's one of the most recorded guitarists in perhaps Canadian history, in that he was a studio guitar player and recording perhaps thousands of recording sessions here in Canada from probably the 60s to the 80s and beyond. I'd never heard of Bobby Edwards, and you never run across his name hardly anywhere, but apparently he's very well known in the music industry here in Canada. And this is an album, a solo album, and it's the only one I've ever seen. It's called Bobby Edwards' Fat City Suite in E major. It's from the 1970s, as you can tell from the hairstyles, I suppose. It's on the Canadian Talent Library label. Now, the Canadian Talent Library it might have been government funded. Like in Canada, we're very much raving socialists up here, and our government does fund the arts quite well. And there was a record label called Canadian Talent Library that was in the 60s and 70s and maybe the 80s that they released 250 or so recordings of Canadian artists recorded here in Canada. And if you can see down the side, there's Canadian flags beside the recordings that are written by Canadians, written by Bobby Edwards and Jerry Toth here. The musicians on this album are Toronto musicians, largely jazz musicians, people like Ed Bickert, Jerry Toth, Brian Russell, who I think is now Mr. Cheryl Ladd, and Terry Bush. And the Canadian Talent Library label released, as I said, it released Canadian albums, primarily easy listening, jazz, a lot of jazz recordings on the CTL label, and some country albums as well. And it's, the kind of artists that released good music but did not have major recording contracts with the big companies. But they did. There are people that collect CTL albums, and this is one that's quite rare, actually. And to give you an idea of what this sounds like, I'm going to just drop the needle on a track. The first track on side 2, it's called Samba De Fuzz. And I'd call this very classy, easy listening, instrumental music. Lots of guitar, and I think in Europe they might call this library music. But it's very good to listen to. Just a second. I'll drop this needle here for you. So in summary, this album is really excellent, and it's not too far from some of the jazz stuff I've heard, like Ronnie Montrose used to do in the 70s, some instrumental things. And although it has more of a easy listening element to it, but it's really, really, really good music. So tip of the hat to Bobby Edwards, and thanks for watching, everyone.